Well, we have a new toy here on FNF here in Week 10. It's our district playoff projection board. Lou's been burning the midnight oil all week, staying up late, punching in teams, trying to figure everything out. And we've come up with a little system here, and between District 11, Single A, 2A, 3A, and the sub-regional bracket between 4A or between District 2 and District 11. We're going to start, Lou, with District 11 Class A. We'll slide that down here, and it'll pop in, and then we'll pop that up. And Lou, tell us what it's going to look like here in the Single A bracket.
Okay, Single A was pretty easy. We knew most of the teams that were in, and we're going to start off with Pius X. They have a game tomorrow against Columbia Montorvo Tech. We're going to project them to win that game, and they should get the top seed. Now, the 2 seed, we're going to go here. Oh, now I'm getting double teams. We're going to get Marion at 2, and they're going to be looking at a rematch, a Week 1 rematch against Williams Valley. Mono area wins tonight. They beat Shenandoah, and they're going to be in at the 4 seed.
Looking at this bracket, we've talked about Pius X. They haven't played a lot of winning teams. In fact, they played 8 teams without winning records. They've beaten all those teams. They played Wyomissing, and it was one of their wins. West York was the other one. 9-0 Wyomissing, 8-1 West York. They lost by big numbers in those games, so not quite sure what to think about there. Marion, though, Williams Valley, 18-7 in Week 1 at Williams Valley for Marion. They would get them at home in Week 1 of the playoffs, though.
Okay, let's jump ahead to the 2A bracket.
Let's see, District 11, 2A, and a lot of teams in here that we're familiar with. And we'll pop that one up. Lou, what do we have here? We know North Schuylkill, right?
North Schuylkill, 10-0, pretty easy. You go undefeated, you get the top seed. So we're going to have to go through Frackville for the district title. Northwestern Colonial League, tri-champ, they're in as the 2 seed. The 3 seed, and this is close, Palisades, I think it was less than 0.02 of a point ahead of Palmerton, winners tonight. So that sets up the bracket there as you see it for 2A. That's what we're going to be looking at next week.
AFL Colonial League, that's always an interesting matchup. They played years ago back in the Falcone days of Paul McCardle, Coach Palmer. That's going to be an interesting matchup between North Schuylkill and Palmerton, Lou.
Yeah, and definitely is. And we saw North Schuylkill playing good Palmerton teams that we thought would kind of roll through them. Instead, it was North Schuylkill giving them a good game. You think Palmerton, maybe they want some revenge there. You look at that bottom matchup, Northwestern and Palisades, 2 teams they didn't play this year in the Colonial League. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup in Week 11 next week.
Let's see what we have for the District 11 3A. Slide that one down here. And
now 3A, again, it was pretty easy to determine who the 1 seed was going to be. Bethlehem Catholic, they go 9-1. They're going to be the 1. Southern Lehigh, a win in the helmet tonight over Salisbury. They're going to be the 2 seed. Interesting matchup here at the 2-3, as Southern Lehigh is going to draw 9-1 Saucon. We talked about Lehighton getting the win over Jim Thorpe. Indians in at the 4 seed. They've got a pretty tough matchup against Bethlehem Catholic, a rematch of a game they played last year.
Last year, Gainley Heighton played pretty good against Bethlehem Catholic. A lot of people thought that was going to be a blowout. They hung with them. Lost Tyler Crum to an injury in that game. That hurt them. Ended up losing. Bethlehem Catholic, don't get me wrong, very good team. Interesting here, though. Southern Lehigh, 1 loss this year. That loss came to Saucon Valley, so kind of a chance for Southern Lehigh to get some revenge. Saucon Valley obviously want to prove that they're the better team. Yeah,
30-22 back in Week 3, so everyone's talking about Southern Lehigh, but like I said, Saucon won that matchup early in the year. And, interesting there, 3 different conferences. See how that one plays out. Obviously, Bethlehem Catholic going to be the heavy favorite. Now we jump ahead to the fun one, right?
Yeah, the one that I'm sure everybody's been wondering about how this one's going to shake out. And we'll see what we have right now. Still a game tomorrow that could play into this one really big.
There's still a game tomorrow. Now, we'll look at what we have right now to start. That's going to be Easton at the 1. Stroudsburg with that big win tonight, important. They get the 2 seed. Del Val, they're the 3. So we see both of those teams, same side of the bracket. That's going to be interesting. Now we're talking about games tomorrow. Freedom and Liberty, Christmas City Classic, they play. Whitehall also plays the Cement Bowl against Northampton tomorrow. So that's going to be an interesting one. Valley West, how about that? They slot in against Del Val right now. My Trojans,
Your
the 7 seed Parkland. And right now, the way that I have it, which I haven't seen this a lot of places, but by my math, I've got Pleasant Valley in at the 8. Now, we mentioned that Freedom Liberty game. That's going to have a little bit of an effect on how this plays out. But right now, this is the way I see the 4A bracket. So let's talk about some of these matchups that we could potentially see next week, Mark.
Well, we have a rematch from week 1. Easton beat Pleasant Valley pretty handily in that game. You figure the Rovers got to be big favorites in that one. Delaware Valley, Valley West, they've played each other. Del Val won that game, so the Warriors get a familiar opponent here.
And the district, I mean, that'll be the District 2 championship game.
Exactly,
So
we'll be the
winner of that
District 2.
game will win a title.
And Stroudsburg, Parkland, the Mounties get the Trojans at home. I know the Trojans have played well this year, not as good as you thought they were going to, but you always think they're going to be good. So there could be some changes here as well, though, right?
Yeah, and we see Freedom Whitehall, Freedom on that game. Now, Freedom and Liberty play. If Freedom loses, we're going to drop them down to the 7 seed. So you want to drop them down.
This is if Freedom loses to Liberty tomorrow.
And then some other teams are going to slot up. So we're not going to see the Del Val Valley West. Instead, we're going to see these matchups. And let's put Liberty in here against Pleasant Valley. You can straighten that out. This is what we could see now. Liberty and Pleasant Valley, it's going to come down to power points. Liberty's going to need an Allen or Northampton win. They're both probably going to be underdogs. Northampton playing Whitehall, Allen playing Deerhoof tomorrow. They're going to need one of those to win to tie Pleasant Valley on power points. Liberty would have the edge. I went to the 4th tiebreaker to check that out. Liberty would have the edge, but right now I think Pleasant Valley is looking pretty good for that 8th seed.
I think this would be a good matchup, Parkland at Delaware Valley. I mean, as I said, Keith Olsworth's been talking about playing with the teams from Lehigh Valley. He could get the Trojans at home next week, and I think that could be a winnable game for Del Val. I think that'd just be a great game either way between those two teams.
Yeah, and you like to see Stroudsburg down there playing Freedom. You know, Freedom has kind of struggled here down the stretch. They lost their quarterback, and it's been a little bit different for the Patriots. So that could be a good matchup there for Stroudsburg next week. A lot's going to have to play out tomorrow until we know exactly how this is going to look.
Well, that's our district playoff projections. Big thanks to Zach Booth for hooking us up with some of this stuff this week and the board. Everyone for helping out with Friday Night Football. This has been a lot's gone into this. For Big Game Lou Rustock, I'm Mark McKeon. Enjoy the rest of your Halloween. We'll be back here next week for the playoffs.